Perfect. So I'm going to be talking to you guys about community building. 3 years ago, I would have never said that I actually know what community building is. I unintentionally did it, and then that became the name attached to what I was doing. So now I get to talk about it. Put your hand up if you've heard of the Marketing Club. Cool. And now everyone put your hand up. Everyone put your hand up. Put your hand down if you think we've got 1,000 members in our community. 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, 11,000, which we actually just hit last week. Thank you. So why community building matters? So obviously brands and businesses aren't built on ads alone. I think in marketing it's very easy to confuse that that's kind of what builds both brands and businesses. But for me, they're really built on trust and connection. I think as humans, we really want to connect with other humans. The quickest way to do that is to build community. And I mean, community builds loyalty, it builds advocacy, and it builds real engagement. So I don't know about you guys, but like anything I join, I usually join by referral or word of mouth. I don't join because I've seen an ad or a fancy website. I mean, I kind of do because I'm in marketing, so I'm like, well, I appreciate the effort that they've put in here. But for the majority of things, I really join based on what other people's experiences are and what they tell me. Humans also crave belonging, so I think at the moment with everything shifting into AI and digital and tech, like that's great, we're all online, but it's really things like this event, for example, that bringing people together. This is where we have an experience. We're probably all going to go at each other on LinkedIn. We're going to talk about it, we're going to network, and we're going to connect. So this is what's really important. Why I started TMC, so similar to what I said at the start, I actually had no intention of TMC becoming what it is. I was in my career in marketing, going to a lot of industry events at the time, really feeling like a, fish out of water in terms of what a career in marketing even looked like. I was early on in my career, going to these events, it was often, pale male, 50 plus in the room, no one wanted to hear from the little young blonde girl energetic about marketing. The events that I was going to as well, like some of the topics, it was great to hear from the CMO of Lotto talk about how a $20 million marketing campaign kicked off, and I was like, look, $20 million, that's amazing. I could probably do a pretty kick-ass marketing campaign with that as well, but I got to go back to my office and we've got a 20k marketing budget for the whole year. Like I literally learned nothing that I could take back to my business. And I just thought, God, like what does better than this look like? And I think at that point I hadn't even planned on, building a community to run events. It was really just how do I connect with other marketers? Because a lot of the roles that I was going in, I was the solo marketer or a marketer of a small team. My manager was often not even a marketing manager. They just got the title because needed to be had in the business. So I was really struggling to figure out like what am I actually doing here? Who are the people I can lean on for help? Who can I just soundboard with? I think all of this really came to a point for me when I got the head of marketing role at Ārepa. I had no FMCG experience. The whole industry was like, who is this person and why are you coming in here? And I basically got given the keys to the marketing kingdom and told to just go and do the thing. I did the thing, I smashed it out of the water. But it was so hard to not know what I was supposed to be doing. There was no one in the business I could soundboard off. And when I wanted to build the marketing club, I thought, right, even if I just bring 5 people together who I can trauma bond with, about sending an EDM or the boss not understanding what you're doing, or how do I convince the CEO to give me a little bit more money for marketing spend, that was literally what I thought I was building at the time. And then I really wanted to make sure that whatever I was going to build, it was going to be tangible takeaways. It wasn't just, filled with shit. A lot of the time in the industry, people were going to events and being like, I didn't really learn anything. They just validated what I already knew. And I mean, high ticket prices as well. Like I think the whole industry is starting to move into paying for things, which is great. But the idea of charging $900 for a ticket to go to an event to learn something has just never really sat well with me. So we massively looked at, what was the pricing structure eventually going to be. I mean, we only launched paid membership options for the Marketing Club 2 weeks ago. So for the last 2.5 years, it has been an absolute passion of love. But love doesn't pay the bills. And then I really wanted to do something that was genuine, useful, and fun. So I think at the time in the industry, because of what currently existed, it sort of just felt like the fun had fallen out of marketing, and marketers were some of the most fun people that I was meeting, but they were in these roles that just kind of stifled that. So I thought, how do we create a community that actually leverages people wanting to have fun again? And then what could better look like? So again, looking at what already existed, what did I think was a gap? Oh God. So I started with a blank page to brainstorm ideas of what the marketing club could be. We found better alignment in this slide, which was great. Cool. This was pretty much me going to industry events being like, is this the best that we have to offer, because this just not feel like a human first approach to building something for community. I think a big thing for me was, if I'm going to build for community, I need to ask community what community wants. Like, it's not a big question to ask people if you're going to create something, like, what do you guys actually want to learn from? If it doesn't exist, build it yourself. That's become a real nasty little motto in my life, which is quite exhausting. But I basically identified that there was nothing in the industry at the time that I thought was really benefiting marketers, specifically for me. And I know a bunch of people say, like, you are not your customer, but for me, I was my customer. I essentially had a look at what I was struggling with, talked to a few people, and then thought, right, how do we build something that's actually going to cater to everyone? This was our first event that we ever did. So when we launched, it was only ever supposed to be a Slack community. I had spoken at an event with Tracksuit, actually, and I had announced to that room of 100 people that I was going to launch the Marketing Club. At that point, it was, if you're a marketer and you want to join a community, come join us. Within the first week, we had 180 people join the Slack club, which was a lot bigger than the 30 marketers once a month coffee group that I thought I was building. Then we ran our first social networking event, so a lot of people lived in Slack. It was really great for online connection, but that human connection was missing. People were starting to talk to each other online, but really wanted to meet each other in person. So we ran our first social networking event, which was a great way for everyone to meet each other. Our core values, so I think when you build community, you really have to figure out, what do we stand for, what is the value of what we're doing or what we're trying to bring into this place. It's not necessarily hard to build community, I just think you need to get these things right first. Same with generosity, so a big thing for us is, how do we essentially not only demystify marketing in the industry, but make sure that education isn't being blocked. We were getting a lot of feedback early on from both uni students studying marketing all the way to the CMOs, the agency owners, that there was such a massive knowledge gap between those two areas. So a big core focus for us is being, how do we actually become that bridge that can help everyone feel like they're actually getting access to that knowledge. And then same with inclusion. So a lot of things that existed in the industry at the time, you were either priced out of them, you only had to be like senior level or junior level, there was nothing really for everyone. So when it came to building this, and I mean, I'm such a come one, come all kind of person, so I was like, as if I'm going to build a community and then only say that it's for a certain amount of people. So it was really around, you know, making sure that we were communicating that everyone was welcome, whether a uni student studying marketing all the way to an agency owner, a CMO, an expert or a freelancer, you're basically welcome in our community. And vibes, like marketing should be fun. It was so ridiculous that I was meeting really exciting marketers and then we were going to these conferences that were just boring and no one was really talking to each other, and I was like, right, bring the vibes, build the community, and then we'll see what happens. What do you want? Ask the community. When you build for people, I think I did not break the systematic wheel of what it looks like to build community. All I did was ask people what they wanted and then went and executed on the thing. So every single educational event that we do, we crowdsource from our community what topic they want to hear about. Then we go and run the event based on that topic. That's not groundbreaking, it just means that when we do an event, it's relevant because the community has literally told us what they wanted. It also means it's a lot less effort for me because I'm not sitting there trying to read everyone's minds. I'm just saying, hey, for our next event, what do you guys want us to do? And then we'll go and do the thing. And I think the value for us doing that is, it's really meant that when people come into a room like this, you feel like you've been a part of the event. You told us what you wanted, we went and built it for you, so then when you sit here, you're like, I did that. they listened to me, I got to be a part of this, I feel like I have become almost a deeper part of the community knowing that I'm being listened to. What worked early on, so I think clear purpose and personality. The personality, I'm not a branding whiz, so TMC was basically just an imitation of me as a human. It's not necessarily the best way to build a brand, but I mean, that was all I had, was just me, and then attach myself to the thing that I was building. Word of mouth as well from excited members, so we got a lot of early members early on who really saw the value of what we were doing, and then they almost became like super fans because nothing in the industry had been built like this. No one else was really talking about this great event that they had gone to, so when we were running events we were getting a lot of social proof early on, especially across LinkedIn and Instagram and even in the Slack, of how great our events were. Social proof as well is massive. If any of you guys follow me on LinkedIn, you'll know that I do a lot of photos at our events. And we always encourage people to take photos as well. Now I know this isn't groundbreaking, but when you create experiences that are actually things that people want to be a part of, naturally they're going to take a photo and then talk about it the next day. And then actively listening and adapting based on feedback. Like, that's massive for us. I think at the start, because I had no idea what I was building and the scale that this thing was going to grow to, I asked everyone what they were thinking. You could look at that and be like, damn, that was really strategic, like you're really listening to your community. And I was like, honestly, I'm just trying to figure out what this thing's becoming. And then we really filled a gap in the market that no one was focusing on. So again, that was unintentional. I didn't know product market fit was going to be as big as it was. I was just building for me and a few friends. I didn't realize that many people were going to attach themselves to what we had built. And then building momentum, you know, like that for us, it was really figuring out what do we stand for, what are the kind of events that we want to do. So we did a lot of social networking events at the start. That was everything from, you know, those of you who went to the networking event last night, that was essentially what a social networking event for the Marketing Club could look like. So just come meet people, talk to each other. We've changed the formats for that a bit as well. So we've done marketing themed pub quizzes, which has been really fun. We've done speed dating, which is always interesting because trying to force a bunch of people in a room to talk to each other and go around in circles is always interesting to see who the outgoing ones are and who absolutely hates that kind of format of networking. And then same with our educational events. So for us, the minute that we started to provide education was basically when I saw the snowball of the Marketing Club start snowballing down the hill. Because if you bring people together, you get them to talk, they network, and then you actually teach them something. It's basically been like the rocket ship that I've been trying to hold on to for the last 2.5 years. And then that meant we could start scaling into other cities. So we originally launched in Auckland because that was where I was based at the time. Obviously everyone started posting on LinkedIn. Then Wellington was like, hey, where's our version? Christchurch, guys, you're missing me out. Australia, that was never supposed to happen. I ended up connecting with a lot of marketers on LinkedIn when I was in the Ārepa role because we were launching our product into Australia, so a lot of them started connecting with me. They saw what the Marketing Club was doing on LinkedIn and they were like, oh, when do we get this? I was like, guys, I'm not even in the country, like here's a Slack, go enjoy. And within 6 months, everyone's like, this is shit, we're seeing everything you're doing in New Zealand, like this is not the Marketing Club, you need to bring this here. So that was a happy accident. And then community voted topics, like I said earlier, like get your community to vote on what you actually do. I think straight away it means not only can you crowdsource the topics that you're doing, but it also means you'll probably get people nominate themselves for panels. So a lot of the panels that we do for our educational events, unless it's me relentlessly DMing someone, being like, hey, I think you'd be really good for this panel, we get a lot of people put themselves forward because they just really want to talk. And a big thing that what we do is, you know, while there's the industry goats that everyone gets on a panel, we really focus on crowdsourcing within the community for our panel. So not only are you part of our community, but then it means that you get opportunities within the community as well to showcase the knowledge that you do. It also means at events like this, you're actually hearing from people who are right on the journey with you. You're not hearing from some big CMO who's probably so detached from the actual work going on in the day-to-day that they're just speaking at you, not speaking with you. We leaned on outreach really early on, so really just allowing our community to kind of be the spokesperson or the influencers, I hate that word, but influencers for us, for lack of a better word, and just asking them to be like, what do you want, who should we be connected with? A lot of the events that we've done have basically come about because people have volunteered their venue space, they've volunteered speakers, their business, they've been like, hey, this looks like a cool thing I want to be a part of, and then use other brands to elevate awareness. So We didn't stay small for long. In 6 months after launching it, we had 1,000 members. We stayed on 1,000 for a while, and then it basically went 5,000, 8,000, 11,000, which is really hard to keep up with, by the way, when people ask how to scale something. Like, truth is, I don't know, I'm still figuring it out. But being able to use other brands to elevate what we were already doing, so especially when we launched in Australia, and I think this is why the momentum's gone so crazy, is we got a chance to do an event at Google HQ in Sydney, then we got a chance to speak at South by Southwest. That was literally just LinkedIn DM connections, being like, hey, this could be a cool thing to do you want to speak? And then that's really built the momentum for us. So even when we didn't have massive brand awareness ourselves, leveraging on others who already had that brand awareness in markets that they existed in. In terms of key tools and tactics, so Instagram and LinkedIn is massive for us. We get about 98% of our members come through LinkedIn because it's a B2B platform and every marketer is essentially on LinkedIn. Instagram obviously is more around community highlights, the fun, the entertainment, the engagement. We ask a lot of questions in our Instagram stories as well. Again, what do you guys want to see from us next? What are you struggling with? Where should we do an event next? That sort of thing. Emails. To be honest, we haven't nailed this, and that's purely because of money. Up until 2 weeks ago when we launched paid memberships, we had no money coming in for the Marketing Club. It was just the Bank of Chanel funding it. And the bank is dry. So now we actually just built a new website, we transitioned onto HubSpot, we can finally afford an email subscription plan. It means we can send a lot more emails than we were. The problem with growing a community and it always getting bigger is that you essentially outgrow every single monthly subscription that you sign up to. Slack as well has been massive for us, so that's really the 24/7, the online community conversations, that engagement. You know, if you guys in the room right now had a marketing question, you could literally go onto our Slack community and ask it, and probably within an hour you'll have 10 or 12 different answers from people in our community. So that's really been huge for us in terms of that online support. It also means that it's not something that ever goes away. So our educational events or our social networking events, those are like the one-off things. Yes, they build momentum, but they're not always going to happen. So I think it's important when you build community, figure out where can the conversations happen, A, that you don't have to manage, but B, that is like an always-on part of your community building. And then collaborations with industry speakers and brands. So a lot of what we do, we really look at what is happening in the industry. You know, as a marketing club, we're expected to have our finger on the pulse of what's going on. So really kind of facilitating who are the other people in the industry that we can lean on, what brands make sense for us to partner with as well when it comes to doing events. And then being a human being first. Like, the only reason I built this was because what existed did not feel human. It felt like an absolute money grab. I was being priced out of getting education, and then no one wanted to talk to me in a room that I came in. And I thought, this sucks, but please keep doing that because I'm going to do the exact opposite. And now we're big. In terms of lesson learned, not everyone gets it. Like, when you community build, I think the first thing is like, oh, well, I've survived without this thing, so why do I need this now? So really communicating the value that people can expect to get when they join your community. Managing growth without losing the vibe, this has been phenomenally hard. I have had to be the gatekeeper not only of our community but of our brand as well. The minute our community hit 10,000, felt like it was the number that everyone started paying attention to and said we were legit. We were pretty legit at 1,000. So it felt kind of shit that 10,000 was the number that everyone was like, oh, okay, now you mean business. And I'm like, mate, we meant business like 6 months ago when I messaged you about an opportunity. But yeah, just keeping that vibe, I think really holding on to why did we do this and using that to essentially steer every decision that you make. There's been a lot of things I've had to say no to for the Marketing Club just because it didn't fit what we were trying to do, it didn't bring value to our members, and it didn't make sense in terms of a partnership or an opportunity that would actually drive value. And that's been really hard when it's been funded by the Bank of Chanel for 2.5 years and I'm getting money thrown at me. But it's just, it's part of the expectation, right? If I get people to give their time, give their energy into a community, I want them to trust that I'm going to continue to grow the community in the way that I promised them. I'm not just going to see all these opportunities and be like, oh, well, you know, see ya. And disruption isn't easy. So when I started the Marketing Club, you know, 90% of it was positive. 10% was sort of like, well, why do we need this thing? It's never, you know, the industry survived without you. Why now? When we sort of started building it and we were starting to get big, there was a lot of, I suppose, feedback around, oh, well, no one does events like this. You guys seem, you know, like, what are these fun events? This isn't value. Like, why are you doing these formats? But I think you just have to stick true to why you're building something and what your point of difference is. And then I think naturally if you do that, you start attracting the right kind of people who essentially will help you kind of justify and validate that that's the difference between what you do. In terms of good lessons that I learned, so like I said earlier, protect the culture, say no when needed. Again, that's been really, really challenging, but I think the reason that we've grown so big is because people understand that when they join us, there is almost like I suppose a bit of gatekeeping that goes on around what we will do, what we won't do, what you can expect from us, and then we really manage those expectations of the value that you can expect to get from our community. Community isn't owned, it's earned. And I think this has been massive for us as, you know, like I said, I thought I was building coffee meetup, 30 people once a month. The fact that the community got so big and then they basically built community itself, like all I did was built the house and invited people in. And then people kept inviting more people in. It was like the house party, you know, if anyone's seen Project X on Netflix, that's basically what this feels like. Like everyone kept inviting friends. And I think because it was so obvious that we didn't have an agenda around what we were doing, we were literally just trying to exist as a community to bring more people in and connect on a human level. That's where we really saw it take off. And I think to involve who you're building for, so like I said, a lot of the events that we do, we get a lot of the community to be a part of that. It then means that we're not necessarily involving people just for the sake, we're actually involving them to help grow them in their career as well. And this has been really massive for us because it's just an extra value add when you join our community, is that we're actually heroing people within the community as well. In terms of how it's going, so these are some of the events that we've done recently. Every educational event we do, we usually sell out, which is absolutely insane. And then 2.5 years later, so we're actually over 11,000 now across Australia and New Zealand. We're officially Australia's fastest growing marketing community. Every event that we do, we sell out. Obviously, it drives real value, it sparks real connection. And it just means that there's a true sense of belonging in the marketing world. So we're now starting to get uni students studying marketing, finding out about us, who want to join us so that they can get in the industry early. They can essentially learn about what is the industry that I'm going into, what does a career in marketing look like, and even those already in the industry. Like in my career, I've been made redundant twice. I've been pushed out of a company for being female. The amount of self-doubt you have when no one is talking about that kind of stuff or helping you figure out that journey is absolutely massive. I think there's probably been like 4 moments in my life where I've genuinely wanted to leave the industry because I didn't feel like it wanted me anymore. So being able to build a community that can actually hold space for people like that when you're going through those things and having those real conversations is absolutely massive. And we've also done a lot to professionalise the industry. So by having the conversations that we do, running the educational events that we are, we're essentially asking the industry to just do better. And, you know, especially for up and coming marketers or even now, I think the whole notion of events running that are only for like the upper echelon of marketers or those being the only ones you hear of, I think that's slowly dying, which I'm totally happy about. But yeah, everything we do is really how do we move this industry forward, whether it's education, whether it's events, whether it's community building, whether it's networking. Like I always hope that anyone who goes to one of our TMC events, then the next event that you go to that's not us, I'm hoping that you're comparing it and being like, God, this was what I loved about this event or not what I liked about this one. Bank of Chanel is closed. We launched paid memberships 2 weeks ago. That was absolutely terrifying. I don't think I've ever wanted to vomit more in my life. And I think the hard thing when you go from a free community to paid is how do you prove that value? I think if I had launched the community paid initially, like who cares, you know? Whereas because we started for free first, we provided all that value, we validated to people what they could expect, then the minute that we launched paid, honestly everyone was like, I would have paid for this 2 years ago. Like the value I get from this is insane. And we did a lot of work around looking at what was paying memberships going to look like. So we're $20 a month or $200 for the year, and that includes all of our educational events, all of our social networking events. We've offered mentorship at $45 a month, unlimited mentorship, so you could go in and book 1 mentor, you could book 10. So everything we do is very accessible for the community as well. Again, I'm a massive believer that pricing people out of education is just a bit of a dick move that I will not operate on. But that was a really tough decision to come to. I think also just looking at, how we're going to scale this thing. With 11,000 members now, everyone's like, cool, what's the big step? I'm like, I don't know, I'm just having fun, trying to provide for the community, but really looking at what that future version of the Marketing Club looks like. If you're building your own community, I think start small, define why you're doing it, how you're going to do it, and what you're going to do. Get clear on your purposes and values, so why are you existing? If you're building a community for the sake of business, I promise you that will fail faster than you can imagine because it's not human first, it's business first, and humans connect with humans. You could slip business things in later, but first and foremost, I think build for humans first. Co-creating with your community as well, this is all we do. Every single event that we do, community gets to have input, they get feedback, they get value from it. It then means that they almost become a part of TMC's IP almost. So when you deal with us, you're not just dealing with me, the founder, you're not just dealing with our committee members, you're actually dealing with the marketers themselves. And prioritise quality of connection over quantity of followers or money. So again, this has been a really big struggle, to be honest. As we've got bigger, you just need money in the door to start making things happen. But I essentially held on for as long as possible to not do that, just so we could bring value first. And I think that is now why that we've transitioned to paid memberships. We got no pushback from it because everyone's like, oh yeah, I'll pay for this. It's been such great value. In terms of what's next for us, so we just got a new website that aged me about 30 years because it broke the day after we launched it. But yeah, we got a new website. I think for us, even doing that was really just how do we communicate what TMC stands for. We used to have it on Wix, which is absolutely horrible if anyone uses Wix in here. Commercial partnerships as well, so being able to have the conversation now of brands actually wanting to pay to get their brands in front of our audience is absolutely insane. That's been a real hard mindset shift for me because obviously I didn't start this out to be a business, I started it to be human. So even knowing that we're at the point where people want to pay to be in front of our members is absolutely insane. Same with brand sponsorships, brands are now reaching out to us and saying you've got a very engaged audience, how do we get in front of them? Our newsletter is a great example of this. We've got about 3,500 subscribers and we average about a 75% open rate every single month when we send this. From a marketing point of view, I'm like, that's it, I've peaked. Every single newsletter I ever used to be in charge of was maybe a 20 or 30% open rate. So to double that, I'm like, I can die happy. The paid membership option, so that's something we recently launched as well, similar to what I said with the mentorship program. We're doing our first full-day conference in Auckland this October. That's basically just a way for us to finally deliver on a full-day experience rather than just a 3-hour event. So very similar to how this event is run, but it just means that we can start talking about more topics. It's that in-person experience, it's networking, it's providing another opportunity for everyone to meet in real life as well. And then we're also in the process of launching a podcast. So, everyone talks about diversifying your channels, finding different audiences. So that was sort of just another thing off the list that we were really keen to do. And if you guys want to join, feel free to scan that. I'll leave that up there for a second. But yeah, the Marketing Club right now, we operate across Australia and New Zealand. We're in Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne. With our owners' help, we might be launching in Queenstown. But yeah, we're basically just trying to validate, where is the industry not really supporting people in certain areas, and then what kind of locations do we want to tap into and give more people value. That's my face, go follow me on LinkedIn. There's actually a bit of a competition going at the moment. Does anyone here know John Evans? He runs Uncensored CMO. Okay, Stanley, thank you for the one follow. We're actually running a bet at the moment. We're trying to get John Evans. He's got the number one listened marketing podcast in the world, and we're trying to get him across the ditch. So if you follow me on LinkedIn, please go find that pinned post and like it, because if it gets 700 likes, he's coming over, and then we'll do a massive event about it. But yeah, that's me. Thank you.